Many of us have lost something we consider important during the coronavirus pandemic. Our daily routine, hanging out with friends, having large family gatherings. Some have even experienced the loss of a loved one and weren't able to say goodbye. All these losses, big or small, have people grieving, but even our ability to grieve has changed during the pandemic.
The pandemic is definitely having an effect on how we grieve or the behavioral ways in which we grieve. One of the things that makes this period of time a little bit more complicated is that so many of the things that we've been grieving are not things that we chose. So much has happened that was outside of our control.
Over 400,000 people around the world have died of COVID-19 and many others due to unrelated reasons. But not all of their friends and family had a chance to properly grieve or say farewell like they would have in the past. Many countries still have restrictions in place for the amount of people that can attend a funeral. Travel bans are also in effect in some places, restricting friends and family from getting together to say goodbye in person.
Usually those in-person contacts are a little bit more effective. The reason why is because we get that touch that we don't get while looking at a screen. And so being able to hug, being able to rub a back or a shoulder, all of those things not only have psychological effects, but they have physiological effects on us.
Whatever the loss may be for someone grieving during this pandemic, many people have had to find alternative ways of coping since some of their usual methods like visiting a place of worship, hitting the gym, or going out with friends may not be possible yet.
Even if we're not coping in the ways that we're used to, most of us are still coping. If you're finding that the strategies that you're using are not helpful, so it might be, for example, watching a lot of Netflix and not doing a whole lot of anything else, it might be time to try something else. And so it might be reaching out to a friend, even if you think that it's going to feel too exhausting or it's not going to help. Try it anyway. Or if you enjoy playing the guitar but haven't picked it up in a while, just pick it up, tune it if nothing else. But getting back to some of our old patterns can help us find the energy to start to think of other ways that we might be able to feel better.
Many countries continue to have strict health orders in place, and many workplaces have their employees working from home since the beginning of the pandemic. This has left many people feeling lonely. But is it healthy to grieve alone?
I think there's a bit of a negative connotation with that, but being able to stick with ourselves and really not have to perform or adapt for other people, that can be what we need in order to really be in touch with our emotions and in touch with everything that we've lost and to really be able to think and process it. And for others, it's being around others that facilitates that process. And so there is no right or wrong.
And because of the lingering public health restrictions, some people may be grieving for an extended period of time, which can impact their mental health.
When we lose our coping strategies, for some of us, we might be able to bounce back, find new coping strategies, or find creative ways to make our old coping strategies work. And for some of us, we lose that ability to cope. And what we find is that there will be a deterioration in mental health because we've lost our ability to deal with our complicated emotions in a way that is usually helpful for us. So I think it's important to remember that we as humans are extremely resilient, even when it feels like we're not resilient.
Alani says that there's no one way to grieve and cope with loss. When things like a pandemic flips our lives upside down, a lot of us are naturally able to adapt and find alternative ways to get by, even if the process is a little more difficult and different from what we're used to. Thanks for watching Global News. If you want to stay up to date on the latest breaking national and international news, be sure to subscribe to our channel.